To uncover the invaluable lessons hidden in this story, watch the video until the end and bring a positive change into your life. I am confident that your time will not be wasted. Instead, this video will open a new door for you. A man named David sits in a dark room, overwhelmed by the weight of life's challenges. Bills pile up on his desk, unanswered calls linger on his phone, and despair grips his heart. He whispers to himself, "Why is this happening to me? I've tried everything, but nothing seems to work." Life feels like an endless storm. Financial struggles, broken relationships, and hopelessness. One evening, as he clears a dusty shelf, he finds an old Bible. Hesitant but curious, he opens it and begins flipping through the pages. His eyes fall upon Galatians 6 verse 9. "Let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap, if we do not give up." These words pierce his heart. It feels as though God is whispering to him, "Don't give up now. You're closer than you think." David reflects on his life. He recalls moments when things could have gone worse but didn't. A friend offering unexpected help, a stranger showing kindness, or times when disaster was narrowly averted. He realizes these weren't mere coincidences but signs of God's presence, guiding him all along. That night, David kneels in prayer. Pouring out his heart, he surrenders his burdens to God, asking for strength and guidance. Slowly, he begins to feel peace replace his anxiety. Hope takes root in his heart. The next morning, David wakes up with renewed determination. He starts applying for jobs with fresh energy, reconnects with loved ones, and begins appreciating the small blessings in his life. Weeks later, he receives a job offer perfectly suited to his skills and passions. His relationships improve as he communicates with greater empathy and love. David finally understands the power of Isaiah 41 verse 10. "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." No matter how overwhelming life feels, God's timing is always perfect. The storms you face are temporary, and perseverance, coupled with faith, will lead to blessings. God sees your pain, and He's working in ways you cannot yet see. If this story inspired you, share it with someone who feels like giving up. Remind them, don't give up now. God's word for you is hope, strength, and victory. Life is never as easy as we wish it to be. Each of us, at some point, faces difficulties, challenges, and hardships. There are moments when we feel alone, when problems seem to surround us from all sides, and we wonder, is God really helping me? Will He answer my prayers? But remember, God never leaves us alone. He is always with us, whether we feel His presence or not. When we are surrounded by the storms of life, feeling down and hopeless, God's love brings us peace and the strength to regain our courage. It's true that at times we don't realize our own strength, and when problems pile up, we feel defeated. But what we need to remember is that God's strength is always within us, and He is guiding us at every moment. The most important thing is to trust in God and not give up, no matter the circumstances. God always has a better plan for us, and when we face our difficulties with faith, we become deserving of His rewards. Whatever we go through is just a temporary phase, and God's guidance and grace will always lead us to new opportunities and peace. When we start to lose hope, when despair starts to settle in, that is when we need to turn to God. He is always ready to help us, and His power gives us the strength to rise again and keep moving forward. Remember, after every difficulty comes ease, and God's promise is that He will never leave us. Trust in Him, accept His guidance, and feel His love in your life. Because when we have faith in Him, we never lose. God's help is always with us, and He gives us the strength to overcome every trial. Don't give up now, because the best part of your life is still to come. Step forward in your journey with faith in God, knowing that He is always with you. One day, a young man named James went to visit a renowned religious elder at the church. James had many questions about life that he couldn't find answers to. He always wondered about the purpose of life, whether God truly existed, and why, despite praying, his problems didn't seem to diminish. His heart was full of questions, and he was eager to find the answers that would bring him peace. James had a deep yearning to understand the truth of life, and his mind was filled with different thoughts. His greatest worry was that whenever he prayed, it felt like his prayers weren't reaching God. He would question himself, if God is real, why aren't my prayers being answered? One day, James decided that he would go to the church and ask the religious elder all of his questions. He told himself, today, I will find the answers to these questions. With that resolve, James headed to the church, and without hesitation, he went up to the elder and began asking all the questions that had been weighing on his heart. The elder listened to James' concerns and questions with great patience. James said, "Elder, I am facing so many struggles in life. I pray, but nothing seems to change. What is the purpose of my life? Why are my prayers unanswered? Does God not help me? Or are my prayers ineffective?" The elder listened attentively, and after a long pause, he spoke gently, "James, your questions are important, and these are the very questions that every human being faces at some point in their life. Struggles are a part of life, but you must understand that God is always with us. Sometimes, we fail to see God's help because his wisdom is much greater than our understanding." The elder then shared a story with James, one that would profoundly affect his heart. He said, "Once, there was a young man named John. John was going through many hardships in life, and he couldn't understand why these troubles kept coming his way. He prayed every day, yet his life seemed to be filled with pain and confusion. One day, he met an elderly man and poured out his heart to him, saying, 'Do you think my prayers reach God?' The elder smiled and said, 'Your prayers are never in vain, John. God sometimes uses your struggles to bring you closer to him. You must learn to accept your hardships as part of God's will.'" John reflected deeply on this, and he began to accept his struggles as part of God's plan. After that, peace started to fill his life. James listened to this story and felt a new light enter his heart. He understood that his own struggles and questions were part of God's divine wisdom. He realized that if he faced his problems with faith and trust in God, peace would follow. The elder further explained, "James, your prayers always reach God, and he has the best path for you. But sometimes, the answers don't come immediately because God's ways are different from ours. What we want may not come right away, but that doesn't mean our prayers are unanswered. God's timing is always perfect." The elder's words brought even more peace to James' heart. He decided that from then on, he would face life's challenges with faith, trust, and patience. He committed to maintaining his prayers with unwavering belief that God would guide him through his struggles. James' heart was now filled with hope, knowing that God was always present, even when he couldn't see his help immediately. The elder's guidance gave James a new perspective on life. He no longer saw his difficulties as insurmountable. Instead, he began to view them as opportunities to grow and strengthen his faith. James now knew that God's wisdom was always at work in his life, even if it wasn't immediately visible. He resolved to accept each trial as a chance to deepen his connection with God and trust in his timing. Months later, James began to notice changes in his life. His prayers, now infused with faith, brought him inner peace. He realized that God's wisdom was at play in every moment of his life. He understood that whatever happened was part of God's plan, and he grew thankful for each experience. The struggles that once seemed like obstacles were now stepping stones to spiritual growth. The elder's teachings helped James realize that life's difficulties are a reality for everyone. The key is to face them with faith, patience, and trust in God. God's guidance may not always come in the way we expect, but it is always present, leading us to growth and peace. My dear friends, our purpose is not just to share happiness, but to build a bond filled with love, peace, and support. We are on this journey together, where every step, every moment, and every action is aimed at improving our lives. Our dream is to create a world where every heart is happy, every soul is enlightened, and every step is moving toward peace. So, please subscribe to this channel, like the videos, and share them, so that our message reaches the world and this beautiful transformation becomes a part of everyone's life. If you have any questions or would like to share your valuable thoughts, please feel free to comment. Your opinion means the world to us, and we wholeheartedly welcome your insights. This is your space, where every voice is heard and every thought is respected.